right, I think we are good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is March 31st, last day of March, and this is the March 31st TextQuest Devstream. So, today it is Saturday, and we are going to be resuming our work on custom adventures. I think the bulk of today is going to be working on the UI side of this, because I'm still kind of doing research on how best to approach the actual scripting side, how to structure logic and all that. But I do know how I want the UI to flow, so we can start setting that up and start setting up the actual ways that we can hook up logic. It's just that we won't necessarily have execution the way that I would like it to be. So we're going to go ahead and... Oh, and actually I might have just had an idea for how I can approach that. Hold on. Take a note of this. Sorry, I just thought of a way that I can handle logic. Anyway, so to give you a sense of where we are currently, also, apologies again, I still have a little bit of a cough. GDC, man, it gets you. Alright, so current state of affairs on custom adventures are, we have actual, well, we don't have logic set up yet. We started to work on the groundwork for it, but we ended up backing off because I couldn't really make a sensible, I couldn't really come up with a sensible approach. So we do have all of the bits and pieces ready for that. So we can go over here, and we don't have a logic menu yet. That's what we're going to be focusing on today, getting this to actually be visualized. But it's going to be something similar to our map menu here. Also, we might actually do a quick crosshatch for the background so that we have some frame of reference and things that don't look like they're just floating in space. So we would probably have something similar in the sense that we would have nodes that have arrows coming out of them, and that shows the sequence of logic as it would flow. And from that, we would have... So to start off, the most basic things would be on room enter. So whenever the player enters the room, we can have it fire an event, and then we could probably do an on room exit event as well, although that would have to be kind of weird, most likely. Oh, and actually, you know what? I wonder if we would want to dynamically do that. So like on room exit, would we want to specify which exit you went through? That could be useful. In any case, so we'll start off with a simple, basic on room enter node, and from there we can call any number of things. So that's going to be one of the interesting things about logic, is that each node is going to have to be able to have multiple attachments, not necessarily multiple inputs, but at the very least multiple output attachments. So for example, let's say I have an on room enter node, and then I have on room enter, we want to play a sound, and on room enter, we want to, I don't know, increment the player's score by 1 every time they enter this room. So those would be two separate chunks of logic, and that can be done multiple ways. It could be like we have one connection that goes to play sound, and then from that sound we have another connection that then increments the player's score. So that would be one connection to one connection. Or we could have one connection going up to the sound, and then we could have another connection going out to the increment player's score. And I just want to have that flexibility, because that will let people design their logic layouts the way they would be more comfortable doing it. And I don't want to box people in terms of how they can sort of lay that stuff out. So having multiple outputs should be fine, and it also lets us do stuff like when we eventually implement our getters for things like check this variable, and if its value is greater than 0, or if it's true, then we can do something specific. But those would ideally be able to output to multiple different connections, because otherwise you would have to just have a fresh node every time you wanted to retrieve that variable. Now, of course, that would work, but that would probably actually slow down. Well, it would probably be about the same, honestly, your graph. But yeah, you can see like these kind of soft design decisions are pretty numerous, and they kind of, I would ideally be able to support both, because I don't know, I'm a masochist and I like suffering. And doing so will allow people to just have a more pleasant experience when they're actually laying out logic. So anyway, that's where we are currently. Let's go ahead and stop playing. Oh, it's so nice that that doesn't take 40 seconds anymore. And I'm actually, before we do anything, I'm going to go ahead and I want to see if I can do a quick crosshatch for the map background. So let's see. We want, let's see, game map. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Turn this on. So we have this gray background here. And let's go ahead and grab this. Do I have a good crosshatch design? Nope. Okay, so I'm going to make one real quick. To Photoshop. All right. So we're going to make a pretty basic... oh, that's interesting. It's saved. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a new file. Once Photoshop feels like doing that. We'll make this 16 by 16 might actually be too small. We'll try for 128 by 128. Okay. And I'm also going to go ahead and we're going to fill it in as white. And then we will have an overlay. This is where things are going to get fun. So we're going to have a main through line. That's about probably half that, actually. So 4 pixels. Let's go ahead and fill that in. Excuse me. Oh, all right. Before I go any further, I need to get a drink, apparently. All right. So that's going to be our main divider, and then we're going to have some subdivisions here that are 2 pixels wide instead of 1 pixel. Let's see here. So we're going to want 2 pixels wide. Let's see if we can really get this. So going all the way over to here is 62, so we want to go to 31, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and move this over. 64, I believe, is what we want to do there. I'm like 90% sure that these are correct. They may be off by like, oh, come on. They may be off by 1 pixel or 2. 31. And this is just so that people have an easier time visualizing the space between nodes. So the idea is that when this is zoomed out, it will be tiled, and it will look fairly decent. And we're not going to make it this black. We're actually probably going to do like 50% gray. Something like that, probably. Okay, so now I can grab all of that. Nice, nice, nice. And if we zoom that out, and then we'll tint that, of course. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go to game development, Unity, Quest art, textures, UI. Let's go ahead and make a custom. Okay, so this will be custom game background. So it's nothing really that crazy or impressive. It's just a nice thing to have. Save that. Cool. All right. Now let's navigate to there. Game development, Unity, TextQuest, art. textures, custom content. Oh. Huh. I wonder why. Oh, it's because I went to UI, that's why. Well, I should probably just move it over there. But we'll get there in a second. Let's see. So we want content creation. I guess I should go ahead and go to art. Content creation. All right. Drag that in. All right. We're going to make this a sprite. Packing tag, I guess, would be UI. Let's see. Single input alpha. That's all fine. Filter mode. We can probably leave that as bilinear. Max size 512. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's tiny anyway. Okay. So let's go over here to the map background. We're going to drag this in over here. Yes, and its type is going to be tiled. That does not seem right. Huh. Is that really what that looks like? No, see, like they should be equidistant. That's interesting. With no border. To modify the sprite properties, clear the packing tag and set the wrap mode to repeat. Okay, I guess let's set that to repeat. And let's see. Okay, that seems to somewhat fix it, although it's weird. It's still, like, notably... Is this because I didn't think this... Oh, it's because I didn't think this through. Duh. Okay. Yeah, so the problem... yeah, that's the problem. Okay. So I probably should actually have... 2 pixel wide lines here, I think. Maybe. I think that's correct. So if we go ahead and add that, because the problem is that when these tile, I didn't actually think of this, they're going to get bunch up like that. So let's go ahead and fill these in. Fortunately, these are much easier for me to do because they're just on the edges. And I do think that that means I should move the center ones over by 1. So if I were to grab this, for example, you're 29, you are 20. Oh, never mind. Perfect. Okay. Let's re-export this. Oh, crap. Which actually, hold on. Does that mean I want to actually make these like 3? And then this one? It's fine. Let's go ahead and just save this out. Save this out. PNG. Yes, I know. I love it when I forget something very basic like that from design. Place that, and there we go. That's a lot better. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go collapse that. We're going to apply those changes. Delete you. Turn you off. Let's see what that looks like. The main reason that I wanted to have this sort of crosshatch design, by the way, is because when you just have nodes floating against a solid color background, it actually becomes incredibly hard to judge distance and spacing. So having this grid will help people lay out their nodes a little bit better. LSH or I'm sorry, first person in the chat today, and I already messed up your name. Staples, how are you doing today? How's the game coming so far? The game is coming along. Custom adventure stuff is kind of the big hurdle right now. The main game itself, so Text Quest proper single player, is coming along pretty well. It's mostly down to content. I'm trying to get that to get it done basically, because it's taken me a while. But we're making good progress, so I can't really complain. Well, I guess I can't always complain because what are you gonna do when your artist is terrible and your programmer is lazy? Okay, so yeah, I like that. I think it definitely fills in the space a little bit better. It just makes it a lot easier to focus. The background doesn't quite feel as nebulous. Uh, uh, said single player. Will there be a multiplayer? Yeah, I'm both the artist and the programmer for this game. So that's the only reason I like to that I like to work alone sometimes, is that I can make those jokes. So there isn't going to be a multiplayer, but what I'm working on right now, right here, is it's a user generated content tool. So I want people to be able to make their own custom text adventures. And I mean they're still single player, but I wouldn't really call this the single player component of the game, just because it relies on other users or other players to make content, and for you to make content and play and share a bunch of custom missions and adventures with everyone. So I kind of view that as a separate thing because it's not really part of the main game. But yeah, so that's where we are currently. Today we're focusing on logic for custom adventures, specifically the UI part of it, because the actual scripting backend part of it is super confusing still. I'm still trying to figure that out. What happens when someone makes a better game? Well, it's still part of my game, so people have to buy my game just to play their game. So, either way, it's good for me. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cool. So let's go ahead. We're going to move on to setting up the actual logic UI. So let's turn you on. We're going to go down to here. Actually, let's go down to here. Custom game map room. Let's put you in here. All right. And let's go to the not you. Background contains submenus. There it is. Okay, so this doesn't actually do anything right now. We're going to fix that, of course. Interactions. Let's see, do I want to have a background? No. Okay, so we're good here. For room logic, I am probably going to do Fortnite is life. That's fair. I've heard I make wonderful white noise for people to work on their own stuff or just play games too. And you know what? I choose to take that as a compliment. So, how are you doing in Fortnite? Have you already died, or are you approaching the top 10 yet? I assume that you're playing Battle Royale. You could be playing legitimately the, like actual single player thing of Fortnite, but I assume you're playing the Battle Royale part. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add an image component to this. Let's see. Where the UI go? There it is. Image, we'll make this a solid. Alright, we are also going to go ahead and give this a offset of 10 in each direction. Alright, maybe not from the bottom, actually. Yeah, I don't really need that from the bottom. Okay. And this is where it's going to get fun, because then I'm going to create another image, and this one is also going to be a solid, but this one is going to be a mask as well, so it's not actually going to be visible. Which actually means I could just do a rect 2D, so I don't even need an image. Never mind. Get rid of that. We're going to have this stretch all the way. Also probably be 5 from each side, just to give this a border. And then we're going to call this mask. Let's see. Just spawned in. Okay. Cool. What's your strategy for Fortnite? Do you like to go for the cities, or do you like to target one of the out-of-the-way farmhouses for your first initial touchdown spot? My first initial touchdown. That seems like incredibly redundant rhetoric. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and create another image. And this one is going to be a little different. It's going to be my thatch background, which really, it should be, oh, there it is. It just doesn't look like that. We're going to set this to be tiled. We are also going to set this to be a width of 5,000 by 5,000. We will also tint this grayish, like that. Cool. And this is so that you can drag around. Let's see. I'm going to call this the... I probably should actually restructure this a little bit. You know what? Actually, hold on. Let's pull in our custom game map as well. Turn this on for my map. Did I just make this generic? Oh, I didn't make it generic. Maybe I did. I might just have called it custom game map. Let's see. Cache canvas, pose X, on drag, check bounds. Cool. Yeah, so this is actually not that bad. Well, it is doing something specific. I probably should make just a generic, like, draggable area that will let me properly drag everything. I'm going to leave the custom game map alone, and I'm just going to make a custom component for this. This will actually be in my core scripts because it could be quite useful. Let's go to UGUI, components. Let's see, we have masks, toggles. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead and create a cough. That's what I'm going to make. Currently doing challenges, so I don't really have a strategy. Just go with the flow. Okay. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into Fortnite or Battlegrounds. I'm just not much of a Battle Royale player. Like, I can see why people do like it, but it's just not my type of game. How dare you focus on something that brings you joy instead of me? Yeah, no worries about that. Okay, so I'm going to make this like a draggable area. And then I probably should have a draggable... I guess I'm actually just going to call this Draggables. Yeah, we'll just call it Draggable. And then I'll make a folder for draggable area. And then we'll have a folder for draggable object, I guess. To be honest, I can't play H1Z1 or PUBG, but Fortnite is more just Battle Royale. Or more than just a Battle Royale. It has that aspect of it, but the building changes it. Yeah, the building was the most interesting part of what I did play of it. Just because if you get really good at building, then you can catch players off guard, because a lot of people, when they first start playing, don't even think about it. Although I will say that it doesn't do a good job of teaching you how to build. From what I remember, it just kind of like throws you in. Which always makes things hard. When a key behavior like that exists, a key mechanic that you're supposed to use, but it doesn't really do a good job of instructing you how to do it. I'm going to create a C# script. I'm going to call this draggable area, I guess. Well, thank you, William. Always nice to see you. Also, sorry we didn't get a chance to talk at GDC more. We just kind of bumped into each other on the street and said hi. Alright, so we're going to make this using Unity Engine.ui. Make this implement wait, hold on. It's like I begin. No. Hold on. What is it? It's I canvas clippers. There should be like an I drag. Oh, right. That's not in the UI. It's using Unity Engine.event systems, I think. And then it's I draggable. Yeah. Ugh. Okay, so we want I begin drag handler, I drag handler, and then I end drag handler. Okay. Let's go ahead and say... I thought there was a way for me to do this really quickly. Control period. There it is. Implement interface. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. The building aspect is learn and save the world mode. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and clear these out. So we need to come up with a couple of things with this script. The idea is that we have a generic draggable area that will be clamped to a parent rect, is what I'm going to use. And that way you can't, like scroll it off screen. We want to make sure that it's firmly within the bounds of it. In addition, we want it to have inertia, most likely, or rather have the option for inertia. And we also want maybe some potentially limiting factors, like we can say you can only scroll or move it vertically or horizontally. We'll try to come up with some nice behaviors that we can do with this. Okay, so to start, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of caching things. So we're going to say private rect transform. We'll say parent rect. And the idea for this is that the draggable area will use its parent as its confines. So it won't be able to scroll past the bounds of the parent rect. This should make things, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more complicated for us initially, but it'll be much easier and much better in the long run. The other thing we're going to want to do, I'm going to put this down so I don't forget what it is. We want to make sure that dragging does not move, wow, this is really awkward, move more than the cursor's movements. And to show you what I mean by that, when I say dragging does not move more than the cursor movements, let's go ahead and just turn off our UI here. Currently, our custom game map, whenever you click and drag it, it actually has some problems because it clicks and drags in the way that you're moving, but the problem is it seems to drag faster than you do. So it causes this kind of weird acceleration effect. So as you start dragging to the left, it seems to move farther and farther left than you do. And you can see this most readily. Create Zork. Let's go to the map. So you can see here, I'm going to click like right here in the center of this box. As I start dragging to the right, you see the map moving farther and farther right, like way past my cursor. And that's because with this method, I believe I was just doing straight up mouse delta positioning. And apparently that is actually larger than your mouse movements, which is kind of weird. So we basically have to apply some dampening to prevent this from getting out and basically behaving in a very strange way. Because again, like I did start clicking over here, and it just goes way nuts. And that's not really what you want. Also, as soon as I release it, just stops scrolling. So we're going to want to build in some sort of initial inertia behavior to it. All right, let's go ahead and stop playing. Come back here. And because oh, you know what? It probably went away, didn't it? Yep. All right, well, fine. I'm going to go ahead and close this because it does the whole Unix line ending thing that I really, really hate. All right, so we have our begin drag handler, iDrag handler, and inDrag handler. We could probably send events on begin drag and on end drag. Delta, welcome to the Devstream. Does your sprite mouth movement, is it synced with your own voice? It is synced with me. It's obviously not doing perfect phonemes, it's just kind of like flapping its mouth. But yes, it is synced to me. Also, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I actually need to do more work on him because he does random poses and he detects my motions, but I haven't set him up yet to detect when I'm typing because I would like him to do a typing animation whenever I do that, but it's super awkward hooking into the Windows API for that. So how is that done? It's actually a weird situation. So I get the audio input from the microphone, and then I basically check if the float sampling from the audio clip that's being pulled in through the microphone is above a certain threshold, and if it is, then he moves his mouth. If it's not, then he stops. So if I stop talking, after about like half a second, I think, of a grace period, my sprite will stop talking. He'll just close his mouth and then he'll move to a different pose. Is it open source? It's not right now. I don't really have a problem with open sourcing it. I just haven't stuck it on GitHub. The hands are a series of random poses. So he's on an animator that has not a complicated set of logic, but a intermediate set of logic that just kind of randomly picks a pose every couple of seconds. It also changes poses whenever I stop talking or whenever I start talking. Okay. So I don't have a GitHub project for it yet. like I said, it's not open source right now. But I mean, if you're interested in it, then I'll try to get something up soon. And it actually wouldn't be too bad, I think. I mean, I'll be embarrassed because the audio code is actually really, really sloppy, but you know, it is what it is. It's really, really awkward getting input from your mic in Unity. Like you have to create an audio clip that's like an arbitrary number of seconds long, and then you just have to constantly refill it on the fly. It's really weird. So I think I have that audio clip being generated for like 1 second, and then I just loop it constantly. That's how it knows how to stop whenever I stop talking. Okay, so anyway, I need to do better at multitasking. I'm really bad at talking and explaining things and then working. So let's see. We're going to. So I probably could have events fire on begin drag and on end drag, and that's largely so that we could do stuff like highlighting if I ever need it. So let's go ahead and come up with some events. I'm just going to go ahead and say public delegate void drag event. Not going to have anything. I'm going to say public event drag event. We'll say on. Oh, I can't call it on begin drag. On drag begin. Wow, or bean. Begin is equal to delegate. Wow, I can't type. No, don't worry about interrupting me. I like chatting. I love chatting with people. I need to get better at talking with people while I'm coding. Because I don't feel like showing myself on webcam as well. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that it lets me do really fun stuff with my avatar. I actually need to spend more time on my avatar, because I want him to do stuff like interact with chat and do facial poses, because right now all he does is really talk, but it would be nice if I like set my threshold to be a certain amount, and if I get past that, then he'll be like angry, and he'll start like, the glasses will tint red, and maybe he'll get angry eyebrows and stuff. That could be fun. That wouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think. But then I wouldn't know how to pose when I'm excited. Oh, that would be sad. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and say on drag begin. Begin. And down here, we're going to fire off on drag end. Well, thank you for. I'm glad I have great ideas. I just wish I had the time to actually implement them. Because there's tons of other stuff that I would like to do. I'm actually working right now on a format for video updates, and I'm just going to basically have a controller plugged in, and I'm going to have my guy walking around while I talk, so I can have him like go up to my computer monitor and start doing stuff, and we'd switch to like a different view. And that's just so that I can pump out updates a lot faster than I haven't really done video updates, and I would like to start doing them, but I get bogged down with editing, so it'd be nice to just have this more casual format of my sprite guy walking around doing stuff. Anyway, so on drag, this is where it gets fun. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up my. Close some things here. We're gonna grab our map again. Let's see, custom game map. And this is what I currently do. You can see that I just move my anchored position by the delta, which is the delta in position for your pointer. But that's clearly doing something stupid. So I think I actually need to multiply this delta by. There's a specific thing that I've done in the past, because I've done this at work and it's just been so long I've forgotten what it was. But I think you have to multiply it by the ratio of your screen. I think it's weird. So let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to go ahead and also cache our rect transform. We'll say just cache transform. Okay. Then, do I just make that a getter? Yeah, I did. I'll probably just do that then. All right, so we're going to say private rect transform, cache transform, get return, cache transform, question mark, cache transform. Cache transform is equal to get component, rect transform. All right. Let's see. I suppose I should also go ahead and say require component type of rect transform. I don't really think that is necessary, but that way you don't try to put it on like a non-rect transform. Okay. Now let's see. So we have our cache transform. So I just want to say cache transform dot, I think it's anchored position plus equals event data dot delta, and we're just going to leave that as it is right now. And we're gonna do an example scene real quick where we can just drag this around and mess with it. And the idea will be that we want to eventually figure out what we need to smooth this delta out by. So, excuse me, had to cough. All right, and then we're also going to need a private function down here. Private void check bounds. Call check bounds here, and check bounds, all this is going to do is make sure that our draggable area has not scrolled past the bounds of our parent rect. So over here in in custom game map, I have a similar function. You can see that pose x, which is oh wait, no, that's the center of our anchored position. So we basically check what our actual rect is, so the size of our draggable area. We divide that width by half, and then we say, okay, is this positioning less than our canvas padding, which is just where our canvas lies on screen. And if that's the case, then that means we've scrolled too far. I'm sorry, this is to the right, too far to the right. In which case we need to snap our position back. So we're gonna want to do something similar. And canvas padding is, I believe, just set up by, yeah. It grabs our reference resolution, which is not actually something we care about. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back here. We're going to also say, this up, I'm going to be kind of free-form coding for a little bit, so sorry if I sound like I've got some spaghetti code going on here. But I assure you it's not going to be spaghetti code. Private. Well, if I could type, it wouldn't be spaghetti code. Rect transform, parent rect, I'm going to say get return, parent rect, question mark, parent rect, else parent rect is equal to get, well, I guess it'd be cache transform dot parent. Okay, we're going to say question mark there. If that's the case, then we'll say cache transform dot parent dot get component transform. Else, and this is where it's going to be a little awkward. I guess we would want to use ourself. No. Well, okay. No. So I might actually change this a little bit, because we don't really need the parent rect here. Instead, we just need an initialize function. So we're going to say, instead of parent, no, crap. This, I'm overcomplicating this. I was thinking about what happens if you have a parent rect that moves around, because then you can't do like absolute positioning. You need to make sure that you can accurately grab position data. Crap. Okay, let me think. Because I may not always have it be centered either, so that's great. Dang it. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I suppose... Actually, hold on. There is, if I remember correctly, there's a private void on... Okay, good. I like that Visual Studio gives you these. There should be... There it is, on before transform parent changed. So this is where it gets kind of weird. Okay. On transform parent changed. So on transform parent changed is a function that, if I remember correctly, gets called whenever your parent transform changes somehow. I don't know if that means it's going to detect resizing for the actual parent, like a rect transform. But you know what? No. I'm not gonna fall down this pit. I'm not gonna do this to myself. Um, all right, let's go ahead and just get this set up. So we're gonna say up here we're gonna do private bool initialized false. All right, and then we will say on begin drag if not initialized. Then we're gonna go down here. I'm gonna go ahead and say private void initialize. We'll call initialize here. Okay, and then we're gonna say initialized is equal to true. Okay, and this is where things get fun. So let's see here. I should probably also make these virtual in case I ever want to override these. Virtual. All right. And no, we can make this not abstract. That's fine. Okay. So we need to set our parent rect. Although, yes, okay. We're going to assume that our draggable area will always have a parent rect. It should never be like the canvas, basically. So let's go ahead and we're just going to duplicate this, and then I'll change it over to parent recs again. Parent rect, capital B. Oh, crap, wrong thing. I hate it when I do Control C instead of Control V. Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, so this is going to be cached transform dot parent dot that. Okay. So that's probably fine. Okay. So once we have that, I am going to. Jeez. Let's make this virtual. I will also make this public, I guess, because it could be useful to be able to call it from another script. Go ahead and get that. All right. So we need to. I guess we'll just use our parent rex bounds, won't we? Okay. I will also grab, let's see here, cache canvas. Of course, now that I think about it, this could probably be optimized because that means that this canvas padding thing is happening like all the time. And it's generating a new vector 2 every single time I do that. Ooh, that's not great. Okay, let's go ahead and should I make a position X and position Y like this? The reason I did it is because I didn't want to keep caching cached rect anchored position dot Y because I would have to do that 4 times here. All right, let's go ahead and go over here, and we will say initialize. I guess we don't. Do we need anything beyond that? That might be completely irrelevant now. It's probably fine for now. We'll keep it in there. All right, so I'm going to say if cached transform dot anchored position dot x. Correct? Yes. Okay, so if our cache transform dot anchored position dot x is greater than the anchored position of our parent rect plus the width, or plus half of the width of our parent rect, then we're too far right and we need to snap back. So we're going to say, so if that is greater than our parent rect, oh, capital B, come on. Oh my goodness, really? Parent rect dot anchored position dot x plus parent rect dot right. Oh, this is where it gets fun. So I can't use size delta. I lied. Well, I didn't lie. I can't use size delta because size delta doesn't work if it's stretched and anchored instead of manually sized. So I actually need to do a couple of things. I'm going to rename this one to parent transform. Oh, and capitalize it properly because I'm not a savage. Rename. call this parent transform. Okay. And then we are also going to go ahead and say private rect, and this is going to be our parent rect. So that's actually going to be a thing. That's what we can do over here in initialize, where we will say parent rect is equal to parent transform dot rect. Okay. And we cache that because I believe getting this rect regenerates it every time, so doing it this way caches it so it doesn't constantly get remade. Let's go ahead and go down here, and we're going to say parent transform dot anchor parent rect dot width divided by 2f. Is this an int? Okay, good, it's a float. So let's go ahead and wrap this stuff. So if that's the case, then we're too far right, and we should not be able to scroll, which means that we should just reset our anchor position, which is right there. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and say cache transform dot anchored position is equal to new vector 2. Let me think. So this will be parent transform. Wait, hold on. No, I did this backwards. This is actually not what I want, although I do want to have the parent rect just in case I need it. Private rect. We're going to say cached rect. This is the rect for the actual draggable area. We're going to want to set that as well. So cached rect is equal to cache transform dot rect. Okay, and that's what I want to use for my. Right? No, hold on. No, this needs to be. Yes, okay, I did that backwards. So this, instead of parent rect, we want this to be our cached rect width, because otherwise it can only literally be scrolled as far as half of the width of the parent rect, which is most likely going to be much smaller than the actual draggable area. Okay, so we're going to say new vector 2. This is going to be our, let's see, what would I want to do here? I'm just going to wrap these in everything because I'm super paranoid about this, and I believe it's going to basically be that, right? Cache rect.size delta.x. Right, this one I can actually use size delta, although I won't because I actually have the rect. That's all I care about. Minus canvas pattern, which is the width of the parent. No. Hold on. So we're going to say it's equal to new vector 2. This will be cache transform. No. Cached rect dot width divided by 2f. Yes, and then cache transform dot anchored position dot y. Okay. I think that's correct. Going back looking at my old code. Size delta dot x, which is basically what it did. Oh yes, I need to subtract minus, I guess it would be parent rect dot width. Yes, I think that's correct. Well, let's throw it in a test case and find out. All right, we're gonna turn off our delay here. We're gonna turn on our UI. Go ahead and collapse this, get rid of our custom map, turn you off for the time being. We're just going to throw in some test objects. Let's have this be the entire width of it. Freaking compile times. Alright, there we go. UI. Image. We're just going to make this a simple solid. Solid. Attend this stream at a later time. Your beautiful voice is very distracting for this game. I've never heard someone compliment my wonderfully rocky voice. Alright, well, thanks for stopping by, man. Sorry, staples. Should never assume man. I need to do better at that. In any case, have fun playing Fortnite. We're going to make this 10, 10, 10. We'll give this name. We'll call this drag test. Let's make another... no, I lied. We're going to make just a regular old mask here. Stretch this out. 5, 5, 5, 5. Add a component. UI. It's going to be a rect2d mask. And we will have another image. Okay, grab this. Rename this to our mask. Call this our background. We'll go ahead and give it our custom game background. Make it tiled with the 500. I'm sorry, 5,000. That's all good. We'll also tint this like a gray. Okay, and then one last thing, which will be adding our drag script to it. All right, so I should be able to drag this around. Now, I don't think it's going to clamp correctly, but it should at least be draggable. So yeah, you can see that I can drag like straight past it. Okay. So yeah, that does not work in either direction. I was hoping it would work in at least one of them, but nope. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and shrink my image down a little bit, just so that I don't have to feel bad about it. We're going to turn off our rect mask for a second, just so I can get a better look here. So instead of 5,000, let's make it like 1,000. Okay, that's too small. We'll make it 2,000 by 2,000. That way it's a little bit easier to get to the edges. Turn off our... I guess I can turn you... Well, there's no real reason for it. Whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back here. I suppose... this is gonna be fun. I'm going to debug.log string.format. So first up, we're going to debug our anchored position. So we'll say cached, not that, cached transform dot anchored position. And then we will also go ahead and debug our parent rect dot size, I believe. That should give me our height and width. Yep. And we'll also go ahead and debug our cached rect dot size, and then put a line here too. Okay, I think that will do what we want. The main thing is I want to see what my values are and check if my logic is, any good. Oh man. Well, while that's compiling, is anyone doing anything exciting this weekend? I have a couple of people that I know going to see Ready Player One, which ambivalent on. I keep hearing that it's like either incredibly disappointing or incredibly amazing, and there's like no in between, which always worries me. So who knows? Ready Player One could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's really hard to tell too, just because it's Steven Spielberg. Okay, so really I would want it to stop like right about there. So that's a width. Wow, that's a super awkward position. So that is... So our anchored position is 371 and 71. Our size is 2000 by 2000. That is correct. And then our parent rect size is 1250 by 690. That seems correct. I think my default UI for 16 by 9 is 1280 by 720. I believe that's correct. So yeah, it's... Did I do 15 offset? Oh no, I did 10 and then 5. So yeah, that's right. Okay, so those are correct. which means that my position right about here is where I would want it to stop scrolling, right about there. So that means I actually want to say if my position, my X position is greater than half of the width, that would be, I think it's, if it's greater than half of the width of the parent, then I want to snap it. So let's go ahead and stop playing. Jump back in here, and we're going to say, so if cache transform.anchoredPosition.x is greater than parent transform.anchoredPosition.x, that's important. I do need that. Plus, so I guess we do want this to be our parent rect.width. So if that's the case, then we're going to set our anchored position to be equal to actually, you know what? I guess this is that right? This is completely pointless. The parent rec's anchored position is completely useless. We can't actually do anything with it because it's completely unrelated as far as our draggable area is concerned. So if it's greater than the width, is that really all I want? I suppose this would actually happen when I have pounds. Okay, we'll keep it like this for now. So if that's the case, then we want to change our X position to be parent rect dot width divided by 2, like that, I believe. Let's go ahead and save that, let that compile, give this a test run. Oh, custom game UI. The eternal quest. Although I think that user-generated content is very important, so, you know, it's worth the struggle. Also, I just want to know how to do these things, because the next time I do things with custom-generated content, I will be able to just, you know, breeze through it. And I'll never have to try hard again. It's good to fantasize. Okay. So, no. There it is. Interesting. So, I guess that's super weird. So it's actually divided by 4? That seems weird. Why would it be divided by 4? No, that can't be right. So 626, and right about here is where I want it to be. Yeah, 375 is not 626. Okay, so that's, I don't want to divide by half, and I don't want to divide by 4, which means that I need to figure out how to do this, because I need to support an arbitrary position, I think, which is my problem right now, is that I can't do that. So, let's see. What if I were to... So I need to calculate this position a little bit better. How was I calculating it before? UI scalar reference resolution. So I was clamping it to the edges of just the canvas, and that seems to have worked. That's just a divide by half, but that's not actually good enough. Okay. Because what I essentially did is I moved this, instead of using the canvas resolution, I just used the parent rect. But that's not right, which means that I must be using this wrong. So position X is anchored position.x. So if that's greater than the size delta divided by 2 minus... Okay, well, let's try that then. So if that's better or greater than the cached rect divided by 2 minus parent rect dot width. Is that right? Divided by 2? Hold on. Canvas padding, is that, yep, that's divided by 2. Okay, divided by 2f. So let's go ahead and wrap these, because paranoia. All right. Okay, so let's try that. And that means that our position would then be cached rect.width divided by 2 minus the parent rect. Let's see, negative, sorry, cache rect.size delta.x divided by 2. Yep, okay. So it's basically just that again. So we're going to set it to this. Let's see if this works. And obviously it will, because I'm infallible and I never make mistakes. Alrighty then. I never know why I hum. I think it's just because I hate dead air. I really need to get like music or something. But then I always worry about Twitch copyright claiming my stuff, and then I can never have audio, and it's just a never-ending cycle. Oh, hello. Really? that doesn't seem right. Hold on. I feel as though... Oh, no, I was wrong. Really? All right. So I turn this off. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Cool. So that's what I need to do for that. Okay. Let's go ahead and implement the other options here. So we're going to say else. If I'm actually just I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to take this, paste it in here. All right. So we need to change a couple of things. We're going to make you cached rect dot width. This will be our parent rect dot width divided by 2f. Wrap that in a parenthesis. We're going to do this. Okay, position dot x. Okay, cache transform. Let's go ahead and grab all this fun stuff. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, So this is going to be cached rect dot height. Position x. Be this. So you can see how it kind of gets messy when you have so many cache transform.anchorPosition.x's and cache transform.anchorPosition.y's. That's kind of why I made a getter in the last time, or in the other script, but it's also introducing overhead for calling the getter method, which I don't want to do, so I'm going to try it without that this time and just see if it feels alright. I mean, it feels alright. It's faster this way. At least I hope it is. Unless this is constantly generating a new vector2, which for all intents and purposes, and given Unity's history, it might actually be doing, but I'm going to hope that it doesn't. Alright, position y, same thing down here, just with y. Let's go ahead and grab you. Grab you. Paste you in there. Paste you in there. And let's see. So this is going to be negative cached rect dot width. What about that? Then parent rect dot width divided by 2f. Parent rect dot height divided by 2f. Let's see. Cached rect dot height. Let's see. Parent rect dot height divided by 2f. This whole thing again. Cached rect dot height by parent rect dot height divided by 2f, which is the same thing here. Alright. And then I'm going to wrap everything in freaking parentheses, because I know if I don't, there's going to be some sort of weird overlook in my math, and that's going to just break things horribly. So, ever since, I mean, every single time I don't do parens, the computer refuses to behave in the way I would think. And it always bugs me, so I tend to overcompensate now and just kind of like parend everything. Let's see here. Oh, wrong thing. Oh. Really? That's kind of awkward. Oh, no, that one's fine. That one's fine. Okay. Alright, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and save that. Give that a shot. So now I should be able to drag, and this background should not go past the border at all in any direction. So we will find out once it finishes compiling. And abracadabra. Alakazam. Ha! It fears third stage evolutions. Alright, let's see what happens here. Good. 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 Nice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the mask real quick just so I can make sure that it's, not clipping out early. Good, good, good. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. So now we have that limiting factor. That is super nice. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop playing. We're going to come back to here. I do not need to debug my check bounds anymore. Okay, so it's a little cumbersome doing things this way. I don't know if I want to be able to set, like, maybe make this like a vector 2 basically for bounds. Because it's basically the same thing, right? It's always, so it's rect, or cached rect.width divided by 2 minus parent rect.width divided by 2, and then negative cached rect.width divided by 2 plus, I guess, yeah, it's backwards. It's the inverse. So, maybe, no, I can't really do that, can I? I would need to have like a parent rect and then a cached rect width for all of that. It's fine for now. I was just thinking about how I could potentially adjust behavior so that, like, you can drag all the way to the middle if you want, or like all the way to the side. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to set up inertia. Oh wait, no, not inertia. I want to smooth my what the heck? Oh, you're compiling. That's why. I want to smooth my positioning. So let's. I actually don't know if this hides my cursor or not. I might have to like make it so that whenever I drag it, shows my cursor. Okay, good. So I'm going to click here in the center. All right, you can see that it's starting to fly off. So we don't want that. So that's about where I started. Okay. So we still have the movement problem, which means that I want to. Okay. So I think I need to do. What is it? What did I do this? What did I do last time I smoothed this? So using raw delta like that is what causes that acceleration. So I need to divide delta by, I think it's the screen width and height. It's just super awkward that that's the case. Except I never remember. Can I get away with like this? No, it's not that. So we'll say new vector 2. So we're going to say event data delta x, event data delta y. Okay, so that's our basically the same thing we were just doing, and then we need to. What is it? Is it screen width? There's a specific thing we need to multiply or divide by here. I guess we'll say divided by screen dot width. I know this is going to be weird, and it's probably not going to give me what I want. Screen.height. Actually, is there something else in screen that I have? Current resolution, DPI, height, orientation, resolution, safe area. That's interesting. Wow, really? They have a safe area feature? Huh. Okay. So I think really they have a sleep timeout too. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. That's all fine. Okay. Let's try that. See what that does. I get the feeling it's going to just drastically reduce our speed, though. Maybe I need to multiply it by that. Maybe it's like 1 divided by the inverse of it. If this doesn't work, I'm probably going to like quickly look that up. So let's see here. We're going to say... oh, smooth damp? No, that's not right. All right. Let's just go ahead and play. Yeah, I thought so. It's infinitesimally small. Like I can drastically move to get it to do something. Let's try multiplying that instead of dividing. It's actually probably going to be way worse because I'm just. And that's definitely going to be way worse. Okay. Maybe I need to multiply it by the screen width divided by the screen height. Is that right? Would that give me what I want? Let's try it. No, that's backwards. I think I want to do screen or screen dot height divided by screen dot width. I think I want to do that because that should give me a sub 1 value, unless they're. Oh, wait, is that right? Is that what I ended up doing? Because I remember having to come up with a way to make sure that we use the larger number last. So we divide the smaller number by the larger number, so we get a sub 1 percentile, or sub 1 value. I do not know. Hello, Movecraft. Welcome back. How are you doing today? It has been some time. Well, I have been away at GDC for like the past 2 weeks. What the heck? Is it because you're rounding out to 0? I think it's because you're rounding out to 0. So I probably need to cast these to floats. I do. Because they're probably like rounding out to 0. Okay. Try that again real quick. Does that compile? My live stream switched from Twitch to YouTube. Oh, really? How's that going for you? I know that YouTube's been making more pushes, more of a push to get into the live streaming space. Oh, that's even worse. Actually, that's the reverse. Now my mouse moves faster than it does. Okay, well, can I divide by that instead? See what that does. It was a live stream of 30 minutes. That's not very long of a live stream. This really bugs me. I wish I remembered what I did. Because it's the offset is really throwing me off. Oh my, no, that's way worse. Ooh, ooh. Okay. So the dampening. What do I do here? What are my options in event data? Dot button click count delta dragging click hovered last press. Oh, did I? No. I was gonna say maybe I had to subtract the delta from my previous delta. That seems weird. See, drag pointer press position. Current pointer position. Yeah, so we can't actually use the pointer position directly. We have to do everything in deltas. Because if we try to use the pointer position, then it's just going to like anchor it center wherever you're dragging, and that may not be what you actually want. You might be trying to drag like all the way at the top left, and we don't want it to just like snap up to the top left. No stream for 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's, yeah. Everybody? All right, see you when you get back. Press position, raw pointer press. Use. Okay. World normal, world position. So that's kind of annoying. Delta since last update. Because this is clearly not giving me what I want. I mean, do I have to manually... Do I really need to manually store this? I hope not. That's really stupid. I guess I can compare that real quick. So I'm gonna cache the previous position. Private vector 2 pause as equal to vector 2.0. So this is gonna be cached, and then we're just gonna say on drag. Prave pause is equal to data dot pointer. Wow. Position, I guess. That's a vector 2, right? Yep. All right. So we'll say debug dot log events data dot position minus prev position, and then we will also say plus blah 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 plus event data dot delta dot to vector string. We want these to be precise, so I'm actually going to do that for everything. Grab this, grab you dot to vector string, okay, and then we'll divide this. Cool. So this should give us a more accurate readout of what our delta is. And if it's not really matching up, then it means that we cannot really rely on the delta positioning given to us by the event pointer stuff. I wish I just remembered how to do this. Oh, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I think I can do this with my freaking cursor. Because my cursor should be doing that, unless I... Let's see, cursor overlay. I think that's what I want. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Cursor at rect transform. Oh, that's the offset. That's all fine. Let's see. Update. Cursor size, color size, normalized position. Update cursor, normalized position. Here we are. So we get our input mouse position. Oh, it's crap. It's different because I'm using input mouse position. Frack. Okay. Yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't really do that way. That's not really what I want. I can't use the cursor's position. Okay. Let's go ahead and I guess let's just see what this logs out. All right. Thanks for stopping by, man. I hope your next live stream goes well. I hope the YouTube format works out. It's weird. I haven't really. I don't know. It seems like Twitch kind of has a monopoly on the live stream stuff for games, but I know that YouTube's trying, and having that competition is always healthy. Ooh, that's way worse. Oh my. Okay. That's still pretty bad. I mean, the delta seems to be correct all the time. It's just not doing it. Okay. Let's go ahead and stop playing over here. I'm gonna just say event data dot delta. We'll just load that for now. All right. See ya. So. I really wish I knew what I did to smooth this stuff out. Because I know I've done it in the past. I just don't remember what I did. And I don't think I have it in this project. Harumph. TextMesh Pro does it. But I think that's for something else. Yeah. Let's see. Drag all the way down here. Let's see. Insertion slide. Blah blah blah. Yeah, this is just for carrot stuff. That's not really useful to me. Disappointment and sadness. Or I guess sadness and despair. Either way. Alright, so clicking there. It's moving slightly too fast. Move back up. Slightly too fast. I think I just need a dampening of some kind, but I don't. But that value is what's annoying. Like, these are always correct. They never really get super. I don't think they ever really get out of sync. Right? Yep, it always seems like they're matched up. Okay. Alright. So it accelerates, which means that I need to do a dampening of some kind, but I don't know what. Hello, Joshua Gallagher. Gallagher, sorry. Galar. How are you doing today? Also, welcome back. So, the dampening that I need to apply is I don't know how to calculate it. I'm trying to figure it out, and it seems to be consistent. So I mean, I could just magic number this, and I mean, for the sake of testing, I guess I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and say serialize field private float dampening. That was terrible. That's not how you. I can't spell dampening. I'm just going to say damp is equal to I don't know, like 0.5f damping. There we go. But that's not. Wait. Oh. I think I remember. I need to use my cursor's position and the screen width. And then I need to get the relative normalized output from that. And then I can multiply that. Okay, yeah. I think that's what it is. So I don't need this. Okay. I think I remember this now. Okay. So I want to say, let's see. Doing okay. Making a chess game in Unity. Oh, cool, cool. It's gonna be like that ultimate chess game that's like super. What's the? I don't know what I would call that. It's like incredibly over the top detail on all of the chess pieces and like the most dramatic environments, but it's literally just chess. I don't even think it's animated chess. Like I mean the pieces themselves move, but it's not like Wizard's chess or anything like that where the pieces are specially animated. It's just their regular chess pieces that are super photorealistic. Okay, so I need to, if I remember correctly, I need to do um, this. So I need to say times. No, hold on. The normalized positioning is what I believe. So I want to say. This is super awkward. So I'm going to say new vector2 delta dot x delta dot y. Okay, and then we need to multiply this by I think it would be event data dot position dot x divided by screen dot width. So let's cast that to a float. And that should give us our normalized position, except that's not right. Geez, we got to shuffle it around, don't we? Because we need to get our normalized position from the center of the screen, not from the bottom left, which is where the screen is actually normalized from. I have the Grandmaster edition of that. I'm not making fun of it. I think it's just really cool that someone made this like really incredibly photorealistic chess, and then it's a legitimate game. It's chess. So trying to get Stockfish to work. Stockfish sounds familiar. Oh, okay, yeah. The chess engine. Huh. I guess that's probably better than writing your own chess engine. Let's see. Okay, so we need to. Jeez. I think I'm actually gonna real quick. I want to just debug.log our event data.position. I want to just know what that is. To vector string. Okay. So our positioning is going to be super weird right now. Like it's not going to feel right, but I want to see what it thinks my cursor is at, so I can guess that value. What I think I'm going to eventually, what I'm going to have to do is like get the position of it and then subtract half of the total screen width from that to get my true normalized position, and then I have to like find my normalized positioning within that negative half to positive half of the screen width. It's a weird calculation, but that should give me like an actual good value that I can then scale as you move your cursor. Okay. It's better than any human in the world. I don't know. Gary Kasparov might have something to say about that. Then again, he did lose to Deep Blue. So you can see, like as we get farther to the left, that dampening becomes too much. Which is why we need it to be not from the left to the right. We need it to be from the center, because it's actually fairly accurate from the center. It's just that it gets out of hand really quickly. So, okay. Down here, you think you're at, yep. So this is like as low as we can go. Yes, and then up here is the high point, right? Yep. Okay. So we do need to do that. Okay. I'm gonna make a function for this, and we're just gonna say private vector2 get pointer damping? Is it dampening? I want to say it's dampening, and I'm getting tired of saying dampening. Or is it just damping? It's just called damping. Okay, but I don't want to call it that because that sounds stupid. Damp is one of those words that doesn't sound pleasant. Um, he lost to a Pentium 4. Yeah, I mean, I know that Kasparov was also like the last bastion of human players being better at computers than chess, until he eventually lost. But it's still fun to just joke about it. Um, Actually, I just like to joke about it because there's a cartoon called Mike Tyson's Mysteries, and there was an episode where Kasparov was playing against Deep Blue, the computer that first won against him, and then you find out like the computer is actually not a computer; it's just Bobby Fischer's brain. Um, that show was so stupid. But it was so funny. Okay, so we're gonna say get pointer. We'll say offset. Okay, we're gonna pass in a vector 2. Um, that'll be our pointer position, and then we're gonna say. We're going to say vector 2 offset is equal to vector 2.0, and we'll return offset. Okay, so we're going to go up here, and we're just going to say vector 2 offset is equal to get pointer offset from event data, excuse me, dot position. All right. So with that, we are going to want to come down here, and we're going to say times offset dot x, and then times offset dot y. All right. So the idea is that that's going to give us a dampening effect over time. And I guess actually instead of 0, we'll say 1, so it's shorthand. It starts out at 1, 1. That way I don't do anything really too stupid. Yeah, I actually haven't done a good job keeping up with chess grandmasters. Well, I shouldn't say grandmasters because there are very few of those. I guess just competitions in general. Mostly because I never really look up when they actually are happening. But I guess apparently one just ended. What's the odds, I guess? Who's favored in that matchup? Okay, so from here, we have to do some weird math. So we're going to say offset dot x is equal to mathf dot inverse lerp from negative screen dot width divided by 2f to positive screen dot width divided by 2f, and that's going to be based on position dot x minus screen width, screen dot width divided by 2f. That should give us our normalized offset value. And then we're going to want to do a similar thing to y. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this actually. Paste that in. So instead of x, you're going to be y. You're going to say height, position.y, height. And that's going to give us our normalized values, but we actually need to invert those. So we're going to say 1f minus that, I believe is what we want. And the reason that we're doing that is because we actually want this value to be closer to 1 in the middle, and then as you get farther out, it needs to approach 0. Which I think is what we're going to want. We'll find out. This might actually be a bit extreme. I might have to divide it by half. But we'll see. So let's give this a try, see what it looks like. 50-50. Oh, wow. The good old-fashioned chess draw. Trying to remember how that's resolved. I guess a match can actually be just declared a draw, can it? If you keep drawing each other. because that's a legitimate strategy. Is just to force a game into draw if you're not capable of winning. All right, let's get this in play. Eh? Nope. Oh, what the heck? This is really bad. It like basically stops. Oh wait, that's because. Right. Okay, I'm gonna increase the size of my background. I'm gonna make that back to be 5,000, just so that I can pull it around a little bit more. Okay. They can agree to it, or threefold repetition can happen. Yeah. Um, yeah, drawing in chess is super weird, but I mean, it's a legitimate strategy um, when you kind of can't really do much. So we're gonna drag. So you can see it slows down as I get further to the left, which means that it's not doing what I want. Yeah, it's not. It's almost correct. You can see that I catch up. It just means that my math is wrong here. So we're gonna debug, not the position. We're just gonna debug the debug.log offset.toVectorString. We're gonna do that. I want to see what it comes out as, because it is not doing what I was expecting. It should be a negative height divided by 2, positive height divided by 2 in position y, minus screen height divided by 2. That should be correct. Right? Should basically be 0 if you're in the middle. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, and that would be in the center, in which case our lerp would be 0.5. No, that's not right. Okay, yeah, that's why. Um, okay, so I need to add, I need to add 5 to or 0.5 to this, I think. Is that right? So that would be closer to 0. Yeah, it is. I need to, no, it's not. I need to no, that's not right. Let's just see what it is. I'm gonna put in a to do here. To do, because the problem is that it should be basically 1 when we're at the center. So right about here, my movement dampening should be 1, which means that we'll multiply by itself, or by 1, so it'll be nothing basically. But as we get farther out, the dampening needs to become more extreme. Trying to get rid of byte order markers in front of my strings. If I send board position start pose to stockfish, it receives. Oh. Huh. That's weird. Is that a like special char formatting issue? Because I've seen stuff like that occasionally in when you copy and paste strings from like a Word document. You sometimes get extra character information that you don't actually have in the raw string itself. Almost. Still, yeah, clearly not going there. So yeah, by about there, that's correct, but you can see that it's still like very high in the X here, very high in the Y, the closer we are to the bottom. So this actually is not. Why aren't you correct? So let me think. If I don't subtract this from 1, then that flips it, so it becomes more extreme at the top right. I need to fudge it over a little bit. So what can I do about this? Well, I guess let me play again. What was my lowest value? Was it 0 or was it? Yeah, it looks like it was getting pretty low. So tried to change the encoding. So as we go farther right, you can see it approaches 0. And as we go left, so here's the problem. I basically need to fudge this so that around here it's 1, 0, 0, 1. That's what I thought I was doing by doing this, but either that position is not correct, or well, no, that should be right. The entire point here is that if we're at 0, that'd be 0.5, 1. No, okay. So I do want to subtract 1 minus that. No, 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 no. Okay. I'm on the right track here. I just gotta figure out my math and think it through. I feel incredibly frustrated though that I know I've done this in the past and I can't remember how I did it. Let's see. So we have to normalize it between half of the width, the negative half of the width, and the positive half of the width, and then find the center position. But I guess I can just do it through from 0 to the screen width, then use our actual position, and then we would just subtract. Yeah, that would work. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Not 1f minus that. Then we're going to basically just make this 0f, make this 0f, make this not be divided by 2. Not be divided by 2. We're not going to subtract screen width or screen height. Okay, so this will give us our actual position, basically. So this will be a normalized offset from 0 to 1. Okay, now from there, we need to move the value we're given down by 0.5 and then figure out the normalized value between. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so we're going to say offset.x is equal to mathf dot inverse lerp from negative 0.5f to positive 0.5f based on offset.x. Okay, and then hold on, timeout. Because that should in the center give us 0, so 1 minus 0. That's still not correct. The inverse lerp would be 0.5. So dang it, what's the part that I'm missing here? I'm doing something stupid. I just need to fudge my numbers by 0.5. But it's not quite. Wait, hold on. No. I think I know what I need to do now. Okay. So try to change the encoding. So can you confirm that the string you're sending is the string that you expect? Although I guess by changing the encoding, it should be correct. What encoding are you using? Are you using I was gonna say UTC. It's UTF, right? I can never remember. Yeah, UTF 8. UTF 8. Okay, I mean that's standard. Weird. Okay, so what I need to do here is I need to subtract Okay, so this is super awkward. Um, okay, so if our offset position dot x is less than 0.5, so if offset dot x is less than 0.5 f, then we need to figure out where it lies in relation to oh, no. Then we want to do an inverse lerp again, so we're going to say offset dot x is equal to mathf dot inverse lerp from 0f to 0.5f based on offset dot x, and then we need to say it's equal to 1f minus that, right? No, we actually want it to be that, I think. Else, do this. It's going to be from 0.5f to 1f. Okay. Then we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but for y, and that should basically do what I want, I believe. Okay, so let's try that. Because I think that will give me a 1 when it's closer to the center and a 0 as it gets farther out, which should be what I want. And I'm setting the parameter in code should emit UTF-8 identifier to false. Huh. Yeah. I guess I never really worked with Stockfish, so I can't really give any good tips on that. I'm sorry. I wish I had worked more with chess engines. Not gonna lie, that's a very niche thing. But is there anything on, like, does Stockfish have a forum that you can go to? Just to see if other people have run into this issue? It seems like something that would be fairly common if it's character encoding. Oh my. That's like just a hard no. Okay, I think we're getting there. So I think this needs to be 1f minus that, which probably means the same thing, 1f minus that as well. And let's just see what that does. Excuse me. I think it's just the stream writer. Okay. Man. This is so frustrating. I just want it to be smooth. Huh. That's super weird, though. Okay, so you can see this dampening kind of working. I think I don't want it to approach 0. Instead, I probably want it to actually approach like 0.5. But it's a curve. So I probably actually want to do a couple of things. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to say serialize field, private animation curve, damping curve, to new, animation curve, new keyframe, 0f, 0f, keyframe, 1f, 1f. Okay. Then we'll come down here and we're going to want to say geez. That's really not Okay. Let me. So I guess we want to. No, I can't do that. I was going to say we want to add 0.5 to this. Um, but that's not right. Jeez. Um, harumph. Let me see. The problem here is that I'm not entirely sure what to actually use the like where to evaluate the animation curve, because that should probably be done here with this offset, which is really weird, because I think that means that we would actually want to do like damping curve dot evaluate based on this. I think that's what we would want. Same thing here. We'll try this, see if I can get it to feel right. Okay. And that damping curve is by default between 0 and 1, but I can actually set this up to be 0.5. Okay. So let's let that compile. We'll save that out. It's my library open on a new process. So stockfish.exe. Interesting. So you're just writing it across the web to it instead of having it run locally? That play, and so we should get a normalized value now, and it should be so yeah, it's like even 0.5 is, it's still not quite right. We're a lot better off than we used to be. So like here's the center. Notice that drifting is a lot less noticeable. I mean, it definitely is still happening, but now it's not accelerating rapidly out of control. Like I'm still always within like about a box of it, but that's still not good enough. It needs to be exact. Okay. I suppose I could. Let's go back here to our image here. Can I make this just like that for dampening? Let's find out. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Misunderstood that. That's still getting away from me. Although it's, I think, better than it used to be. To show you what I mean, I am just going to change this to vector 2.1. I'll show you what that looks like. Now watch it look actually better. I will be so sad if it actually is better. I don't think it will be. I think it'll have that runaway problem where the farther out you go, the more extreme the offset is. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, so it is better than it used to be, because you'll notice here if I start dragging up, I'll end up about 2 squares away, like 2 whole block squares away, whereas before I was only about half of that distance. So we're getting closer. It's just that close is not the same as exact. Okay. Jeez. Well, that's no, that's not what we want. Okay. We'll go back here. Let's change our damping curve, and maybe we'll make you like 0.75. No, I lied. That's not right. Edit key. 0.25. Do that. Let's try that. See if I can get a good value, because it's kind of weird how we're doing this. Honestly, I don't even know if a curve is actually the best way to approach this. It's probably not bad, but this may just be a linear thing, so a curve wouldn't actually help us that much. Of course, I can always simulate that by just making the curve linear. Okay, so centered, over to the right, and then I start catching up, which means that my curve is not good enough. So I actually want this curve. Let's try to make it linear, just to see what that does. Okay, so I'm going to click here. Linear is not good enough. You'll notice that it like quickly gets out of hand. So we're good. It's off. That's about right. So linear, no. Linear is not good. We probably want a kind of, I don't know if this is exactly what I want. I do know that I can't really do, ease in. Oh, that flipped it. Oh, these are also, I didn't realize that. Okay, I guess that makes somewhat sense. Let's change this value to 0.5. That should help. Save there. Thank you, Galactic Owl, for the follow. Alright, let's give that a shot. I'm very sad that I kind of got bogged down with this. Nope. Wow, that's drastically terrible. What is going on here? It's like always one. Wow. Yeah, okay, so no, that's not the thing we want. We can try the opposite. It's so annoying that it sets it back to freaking 0. Go to 0.5 again. Oh, jeez, because it just makes it so frustrating to try and do this. All right, let's do that. So a curve upwards. So that means that the damping is going to be applied a lot more aggressively. Pretty much as soon as we are out of the center, it's going to start applying damping. Let's try scrolling this over. I think this is our center. That does a decent job, but you can see that my mouse starts to scroll more than it does. So we want to... Probably we can't actually use a curve that's just like this. We probably need it to be almost like a reverse bell curve. So if we... Let's go ahead and edit this key. I'm going to make it like 0.75, and then we're going to just anchor it like this, kind of. So not quite a bell curve, but like a trough, almost. Wait. So you have to send an empty string first, and then you can send the exact same string, and it works. Okay, so that curve is a little off, but it's almost correct. You can see that I start to get up to it after a while. Maybe I should just make this 1. So it is like a straight up reverse bell curve. Something like that. Ish. That seems odd, but maybe that's what I want. Huh. So does that mean that there's something like already there that has to be cleared out, basically? It's really weird. So 1, and we accelerate, and we're back to 1. So this one actually is promising. Like we're relatively in the correct spot for most of this. Like it's certainly a lot less crazy. It would be a lot easier actually. I'm gonna put a center dot in here just so it's easy to focus on. UI image. Let's just go ahead and make this like there. We'll use the file icon. We're gonna set its position to be 0 and 0. Make sure that I don't have progrids on. Set our width to be like 5 and 50. 50 and 50. Okay. So now whenever I click and drag, that's not what I want. It put it under the wrong thing. There we go. Now it'll move with the parent. Huh. That's super awkward. So I'm going to click here so you can see how offset everything gets. So here's the center. It's kind of correct for the most part, and then it's kind of correct. It seems like it actually gets worse. But going up is also kind of awkward. Eventually, towards the corners, it seems to have the most extreme, which makes sense. That's the largest distance. Is it just a distance function? Like, is it just a linear thing that I can get away with? I don't know. The curve definitely seems to help and make it feel a lot better, which makes me think that I do need a curve. I guess I will go ahead and... I don't have an inverted curve, do I? Now that I think about it. Okay. Make you like that. Make you like that. I'm trying to center it a little bit better. Right about there-ish. Seems a little off still, but try that. And then I'm probably going to call it a night because I want to find what I did before. See if I can get that. Because this is close, but it doesn't feel right. And like the curve is making it super awkward because you can see like it kind of like awkwardly is far to the right and then it's suddenly far to the left. So it's not very. It's certainly a lot better than the current one, or the current method that doesn't really map out as expected. And part of this offset problem could be because maybe, I don't know, the mouse movement isn't... See, here's the thing. It's like, it's almost perfectly following it. It's just not quite right. I apologize for anyone with epilepsy. Okay, so... Yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day there. We started working on a fix for our draggable area problem, but it's not quite where I want it to be. But I'm going to figure out how I was doing this before to compensate for dragging. and then I'll hopefully be able to just pull that in. I really worry that I'm going to have to do something awkward like get my position data from input.mouse position and then use that as a delta somehow. Would kind of suck if that's the case, but I wouldn't put it past me, or put it past Unity for me to have to do that. So, all right, I think that's a good place to stop for the night. So, announcements. There aren't really any. I guess a heads up in May, I believe. I'm going to be going to Anime Central. I think it's May. Let me look this up. Anime Central is... you're not telling me. May, yeah. May 18th through the 20th. So I should be showing off my game here at Anime Central. And that will be in May. So just be aware that I'm going to be doing that in 2 months. I'll talk more about that as the date approaches. But I actually ran into the organizer for Anime Central while I was in heading to GDC. Really cool guy. Got a really cool game called the Moonfields. You should check it out. Excuse me. Anyway, so that's it for announcements, and that's pretty much it for me tonight. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.